Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live chat. I'm just going to take a moment and find the actual chat screen so I can see all of you and what all of you are saying. As always, the format is exactly the same. I'd like all your questions or any of your chat, please put in the comment section below. Okay, so I am just locating on my own screen the actual chat site so that I can see. I do create my videos through YouTube Hangouts on Air. Okay, so I think I've just got the chat room. So if you are watching now, please just say hello so I can test and see if it's actually working. I think we do actually have some viewers at the moment. Aha, I have found the window. So here we are. This should be it. I should now be able to see whoever is asking me some questions or saying hi. So please don't be shy. If you are there, even if you haven't got a question, just say hello. Aha, I can see it. I can see Steve, I can see Doris, I can see Ned, I can see Sarah, I can see Chelsea Thomas, so a few regulars. I can see lots of people. So hello and welcome. It's been over 2 weeks now since I last had the chance to do my live chats. And that's because Christmas Eve was one of the Saturdays, which I didn't realise from the time before. And then it was New Year's Eve. So two key sort of family events in my life on the Saturday. So I wasn't able to make the chat, which I really missed. And I really wish that you could have all been with me on my Christmas Eve and my New Year's Eve. So I'm really happy to be back. And there's so much to talk about. So much has happened with the royal family since our last chat. So please take this as your opportunity to ask me any questions that you want, to talk about any of the videos, anything you'd like to see, just let me know. So let me see. So a lot of people have said hi, so hello to all of you. Sarah says it's 4 p.m. here in Houston. Just make sure that's Pouty Gorilla, I think that's what you're called. Thanks for all the videos and info you share. Happy New Year from Virginia Beach, USA. Hello for everyone in Virginia Beach. I wish I was at a beach now. It's very cold and wet in the UK in January. Steve Keatman says hello. Nancy Wright says hello. And Doris says it's 4 p.m. in Mexico. Ned says, how is the Queen? We will get to that in a moment. That's one of my points. Because so much has happened, I've actually got a list of notes so that I don't forget anything. But I'm sure, as usual, you all have fantastic questions, which pretty much covers what I usually would like to talk about anyway. So I will get to how the Queen is in a second. Loretta says, hello, Elliot. Hello, Loretta. Mahmood says, hello. Hi, Mahmood. Sarah says, what is my day job? I think I have mentioned it before previously. I work in a special needs school with special needs children and in particular complex medical children. Loretta says, how is the Queen? We'll get to that. And Steve says, the royal family didn't have a great Christmas, did they? Well, I mean, not everyone didn't have a bad Christmas, but in general, there was a bit of a cloud. Sort of even before the Christmas officially began at Sandringham, we had Zara, who sadly lost her baby. I did make a video on that. And the reason why I made a video on that, rather than sort of keeping it private, is because it was being talked about here in the UK. It was being shown as breaking news on all of the TV channels. And news was going to get out. It was going to be all over the internet. So I decided that I should do a tasteful, factual video, such as I usually try to make about that subject. So although it was a very difficult subject to make a video about, hopefully I I did do them justice. And of course, it was such a very sad time. And of course, I wish Zara and Mike all the best, and I really hope that they're able to find the strength to get through such a difficult, sad time. So that was the start of the Christmas period for the royals, which didn't go off to a good start. And then, of course, the Queen and Prince Philip got ill, and officially the line was heavy colds. Interestingly enough, in my video that I did, the first video, the breaking news video about them being ill, I did also include a sort of a sub-story in there about security, because security was an issue. When in Europe we just had an attack, a terrorist attack, and I think that there possibly was rumours of an attack in the UK too. So part of me is thinking that they are actually ill, and another part says that maybe there was an attack planned against the royals, and maybe that's why they were helicoptered to Sandringham and why we haven't seen the Queen. I'm not saying that is the case, that's just one theory. The official line is heavy colds, and of course that's what I've gone with, that it was in fact a heavy cold. The Queen is back to light duties. She did perform the delivery of an honour to one of her staff. So it was an honour that she delivered that was within her personal gift. So she has been doing that. She's been receiving her red boxes, and of course tomorrow she is due to attend church, usually, but the palace has said that she will make the decision tomorrow about if she is well enough to go. So it is still in question about if she is healthy enough. So no, they haven't had a particularly good Christmas, but I say it's been a fairly good Christmas for Prince Harry, which we'll get to that in a moment too. Okay, Chelsea says that she's going to listen to the live question and answer because she's playing Lego Star Wars 7. Lego Star Wars 7. Well, I hope that you enjoy watching me, no matter how you're watching me or where you're watching me. Nicole says, hi Elliot, Happy New Year. Is the Queen better? Thanks to Prince Harry and Meghan video. That's the one that I just did a couple of hours ago. And the reason why I published that story is because I also believe that one to be true and correct. It came from some sources within the media that are linked to Prince Harry. And because he's been such on the down low, and I think in a previous video I did say that his whereabouts were currently unknown. Well, now it's been revealed, we know where he was. He was actually in Norway with Meghan Markle, in a secret hideaway in this lodge. And if you watch the video, I actually found pictures of the insides. So if you want to see the inside of where they were staying, watch the video. It's a pretty spectacular place. It's very remote, and of course it's got a hot tub under the stars, and you can see the northern lights, or the aurora borealis as it's technically known. So it's been quite a good holiday for Prince Harry. Nicole says, thanks for the video, we missed you, I've just done that. Max says, notification for this stream popped up while I was watching The Crown, funnily enough. Well, actually, that's really interesting to know that my videos are being promoted through that kind of stream. It is quite strange and kind of mind-bending to think how YouTube actually works and links people to different content streams. But I'm fairly happy with my channel being linked to The Crown. I mean, that's, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of production, and if I'm being linked to that, then that's absolutely fabulous. I'm very happy. And Doris says, I'm sure Harry and Meghan had a very good New Year. I think they did. Tim Doherty said, I made it. Hi, Tim. Sarah said, I love The Crown. I watch it on Netflix. I still haven't seen it. I really want to see it, but I don't have Netflix. I pay for a very expensive, in the UK, TV subscription anyway, which I get my internet and phone through. And to be quite honest, I refuse to pay extra for Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything like that. So I'm really going to hope it comes out on DVD at some point, or if I can get someone else's password or go to someone's house to watch it, then hopefully I can watch it then. Tim says, Florida had an attack yesterday, 5 killed. Oh no. That's terrible. Do we know if it was terrorist? Tim said, guys, 30 more days now, Queen will celebrate 65 years. Yes. That will be a milestone, which I'm sure she will quietly celebrate. There's no official huge celebrations, but I'd imagine it would be a very private occasion, which will be marked. Sarah says, bless Her Majesty, she has gone on and on so well. I don't know people half her age that can work as much. I absolutely agree. She has a fantastic work ethic, and I think we're going to see a shift this year, a more dramatic shift, where she passes a lot more of her work and patronages and overseas travel to the younger royals, which is something that she did shortly before Christmas. 25 of her patronages she gave to the younger royals, which we're going to see them taking up this year. Okay, Pouty Gorilla says, I have been lucky to see the Queen twice here in Williamsburg, which is in Virginia. 40 years between visits. Yes, I remember the last time she went, but of course I wasn't around for the first one, so you must be very lucky to have seen her twice. That's fantastic. Tim says, Elliot, do you think Charles, Prince of Wales, will choose his grandfather's name when he takes the throne, King George VII? Yes, I do. I've said that for ages. I don't think he will stay Charles. I think he's been too long associated with the name Charles. I think he'll want a separation. And of course, he can choose any of his given names to be his regnal name. Queen Victoria wasn't called, her first name wasn't Victoria. It was, I think it was Alexandrina, and she chose to be styled Queen Victoria. And I think that Charles will choose George, because that is one of his Christian names, and I think he will be George VII. Okay. Fancy Horse says, favourite colour. I know it's stupid, I just want to know. My favourite colour, I would probably say black. I do like black. I wear a lot of black. What's your favourite colour? Let me know. Max says, oh my god, you haven't seen it, you would absolutely adore it. You're talking about The Crown. I just keep watching episodes over and over. I know they're going to make a second season, and I really do want to watch it. I just hope they bring it out on DVD. I think they'll probably get a lot of sales if they do. A lot of people like me who don't want to subscribe to Netflix would probably buy just individual shows. So yeah, I really hope they do. Okay, Sarah says she was in Afghanistan working alongside Her Majesty's Finest when she celebrated her 60th year on the throne. Very memorable time for me. Of course, the Queen means so much to all the armed forces. So yeah, it's everyone in the forces is very patriotic towards the Queen and the Crown in general. Chelsea says, I don't have Netflix too, and no Crown for you too. Join the club. Maybe we should start a petition to get it out on DVD. Loretta says, what is my hope for the Crown? Are you a supporter of Prince Charles at his age? What is your hope for the British people under his reign? I'm very hopeful for the Crown. I think there's a lot of support in this country, more than negative support, which I think the positive support far outweighs the negative. And am I a supporter of Prince Charles? Yes, I am. I think he's a very conscientious person. I think he'll be a conscientious king. He's always been quite ahead of his time in terms of the environment and farming and architecture. He's very opinionated in that matter, which some people say might hold him back. I think it will be, as long as he can tone down some of his forwardness and direct it in a more subtle manner, in the terms of advice to ministers, which the monarch is allowed to do, especially the Prime Minister when the Prime Minister has their chat, then I think he could help the world. I mean, not just a king for Britain, but he could help the world become more environmentally friendly and better equipped to face the future, so that we can leave the world in a better place for our children and our grandchildren and generations further down. So I think he'll be a good king. He'll be a very different king to the present Queen, but I think he deserves a chance. And what is my hope for the British people under his reign? Just exactly what I said. I hope that we're able to lead the world in going a little bit more green. But I don't think that going green has to affect the economy in a negative way. In fact, I think it will boost the economy, which is why when I heard that Donald Trump in America doesn't want America to go green, I think as a businessman that's absolutely crazy, because he's missing out on the green economy. If he replaced in all those places in America that voted for him because they thought that they were being left behind, if he replaced the industry in those areas, instead of with oil and all those traditional industries, if he introduced more green economies, you know, solar panels, creating wind farms, manufacturing them, installing them in people's houses, upgrading them and maintaining them, there would be so many jobs. So I think he's missing a trick, and I hope that in the UK we can lead the way in that respect. Matt says, you mentioned a terrorist attack on the Queen. I agree, that could be a good possibility. Personally, I don't like conspiracy theories, but it just seemed much of a coincidence that the attack happened a couple of days before, and then there was such a huge presence of security outside the palace. So we don't know. The official line is still heavy cold, but you know, we can all think what we want. Okay, N. Doris has just told me where to see the crown for free, so I'm not going to say it just in case I'm not allowed to say it, but thank you very much, N. Doris. I will check that out. Tim sent me some smiley faces. Thank you, Tim. And Tim says he's seen the crown on YouTube. To be honest, I haven't looked for it on YouTube because I didn't think it would be there. I thought they'd have had people all over it taking it down, but if it is there, I'll have a look. Fancy Horse says, I agree, but your favourite colour is blue. And you're new but subscribed. Thank you very much. Thank you to all my subscribers. We're getting very close to 5,000 subscribers, which is amazing. And I'm just really thankful for everyone who watches and everyone who subscribes. Tim says, I wonder what Droop in the Colour will be like when Charles is king. Pretty much the same. I don't think it'll really change. It's been a long-standing tradition, and I think we won't see much change. I still think the royal family believes in the motto that the royal family has to be seen to be believed. So I don't think that will be taken away or downscaled. Sarah says, when Charles becomes king, will he still manage his Cornwall endeavours, or will the Cambridges become Prince of Wales? It's not official that William will become Prince of Wales, but I think it's expected. So I think it will happen. Whether he'll have an investiture like Prince Charles did, it remains to be seen, because that could just have been a one-off for Charles. But I do think he will be made Prince of Wales, but he will instantly, upon Charles's accession and the Queen's death, become the Duke of Cornwall. So he will take over the estates. He had some training a couple of years ago in how to run an estate, or at least be aware of how to run one, because of course he's got a huge team behind him. So he will take up those estates, the Duke of Cornwall, the Duchy of Cornwall, should I say, estates. And I'm sure he will become Prince of Wales, and I'm sure Catherine will become Princess of Wales, and the children will change their name to of Wales. It'll be Prince George of Wales and Princess Charlotte of Wales. Okay, Yvette Morris says, hi Yvette, and you're from Miami. Hello to everyone in Miami. Sorry to ask, but do you think the Queen is dead or close to it? No, I just think she's had a really bad cold, possibly verging on pneumonia. I mean, they aren't probably going to say that, but it has been a very bad cold, a very difficult one for her to recuperate from. And of course, you know, we celebrate the Queen for being so healthy at the age she's at. But of course, she is the age that she's at, and when older people get colds, it can turn nasty and it can be very serious. So I think Prince Philip was amazing to be able to have shaken it off so quickly, but the Queen's taking a bit longer. I don't think she's at death's door, and the reason I think that is because Charles and Camilla went to Scotland for the New Year's celebrations, and they wouldn't have done that, I'm sure, if the Queen was really seriously ill. I'm sure they'd have stayed and showed her support. And of course, Harry went off as well, and the Cambridges were still at Bucklebury with the Middletons. So I think we'd have seen a lot more rallying around from the royals if she'd been that ill. And of course, she wouldn't have been back to any duties if she was at death's door. So I think she's on the mend. Okay, Freya says that she's noticed that the Queen has no official Welsh residence. So where does she stay when she's in Wales? I know she's been to Cardiff Castle, and she's used that for some official occasions. She doesn't stay there. I don't think she has officially stayed somewhere when she's been in Wales. Not that I'm aware of, but I might have to look that up. I think usually if she's within the UK, she kind of will either helicopter in and helicopter out, and stay in her own private personal residences. I know Charles and Camilla do have like a big farmhouse complex in Wales, which they do use. I think I've shown that in a video previously. So they have somewhere to stay in Wales. But I don't think the Queen doesn't have an official residence, but she does use Cardiff Castle for some engagements. I know she has been there. Matt says, when is the Queen getting a new car? I'm sick of looking at the Bentley. Well, it wasn't a car, but do you remember earlier this year when she was standing up in the open top vehicle, which is actually called the State Review? I think it's an adapted Range Rover. That is a new vehicle. That was new this year. It's called the State Review. So she has had a new vehicle. I'm not sure she can expect another one quite so soon, but she has had one. And of course, some previous cars did come up for auction this year too. Sarah says, thank you. Well, thank you for your question, Sarah. Okay, and Max says, don't forget that the Queen's mother also died from a cold, but she was also very old. I mean, you know, let's hope that the Queen can get as old as her mother. And Doris says, Prince Charles would be a really good king. He's very humanistic. Sadly smeared by all the Lady Diana problems. He's a really interesting person. I agree with you probably pretty much on all of that. I think the relationship with Diana and his relationship with Camilla probably did cloud the middle part of his life. But I think he's coming through that now, and I think he will be a very conscientious king. Yvette Mai says, thanks for answering. Tim says, I do pray that the Queen will make it to her 70th anniversary. I'm sure she will. I can't see a reason why not. Loretta says, does the Queen go to Ireland? She's made a few trips in recent years. I heard something about her not going since the assassination of Louis Mountbatten. Yeah, she didn't go for ages to Southern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland. She's been to Northern Ireland, but she did make a visit recently to the Republic of Ireland. So she has been. And I think she wants to put some of those demons to bed too and move on. Because, of course, life is all about moving on. Pouty Gorilla says, long live the Queen. I completely agree. Freya Stewart says, do you think they should have changed the name of the royal house to Mountbatten Windsor? I think it's very strange that actually, I think what's more strange is that Prince Philip wasn't made King Consort. I would have liked to have seen him become King Consort. I think it's probably because he didn't want to, actually. I'm sure he may have been offered in secret that title in later years, but I don't think he wants it. It would have been nice to have seen him become King Consort, perhaps at the Queen's Silver Jubilee. That would have been nice, because it would have shown that he'd had 25 years of committed service to his Queen and wife. So I think that's more important. But it is good that his descendants, his direct descendants, can call themselves Mountbatten Windsor, such as the Lady Louise Mountbatten Windsor. Nicole says, I loved all of your beautiful videos over the holidays. Thank you. I did try and make some really good Christmas videos. Thank you for educating us on the royal traditions. I hope you really enjoyed the video I made on the Royal Sandringham Christmas, because I actually managed to find a picture of the Queen's actual Christmas dining table. So if you haven't seen that video, in there, probably a little bit towards the middle, towards the end of the video, I show a picture of the Queen's Christmas dining table, and it's probably not what you think. There's candlesticks with little wisps of tinsel around them. It's quite kitsch, but we know that the Queen likes quite a jokey Christmas. She likes joke presents, so to go over the top at Christmas probably is a thing that she enjoys. So if you haven't seen that video, do go back a little bit and watch it, because I found it very interesting. Sarah says, I hate to leave. I'm so enjoying the chat. It's going to be a hard freeze in Texas tonight, and you need to bring all your plants in. Don't worry. I'm not going to be mad that you're leaving. Go and protect your plants. I'm a very keen gardener myself, and I need to update you all on my Princess Diana clematis. Now, I don't know if this particular type of clematis is supposed to go brown and look very sorry for itself over winter, but it has. And I did make a video on my Princess Diana rose. I wanted it to be really nice, ready for her 20-year anniversary this year, but I'm not sure that it survived. So I'm going to hope and pray that in the spring it does actually sprout new leaves and come back, because I'm not sure if it's dead or not. I'm not sure whether our frost has had it. So Sarah, don't worry. Go and protect your plants. I am not mad at all. Freya says, do you see any royal marriages in 2017? Possibly one of the York sisters. Possibly, but we still don't know. They still haven't actually said that they are engaged. Of course, there's Pippa's wedding, although not technically a royal wedding, it's a royal connection wedding, and maybe we might see an engagement for Prince Harry, possibly with a wedding for 2018. Who knows? Mac says, Loretta, I'm from Ireland, but I live in the West, not far from where Mountbatten died. I get to see Charles when he visited a year or so ago. I didn't get to see the Queen when she visited in 2011. King is higher than Queen, so there can't be a king consort when the Queen is monarch. Sorry, did I say king consort? I meant prince consort, as in Prince Albert. But who knows? They could start a new tradition in the future. But technically, it has been prince consort. So if I said king, sorry, I didn't mean prince. Matt said the house wasn't called Mountbatten Windsor because the Queen was advised by Churchill about Lord Louis's influence. Yes, but then obviously it was introduced later on as Mountbatten Windsor. So a little bit of softening, I think, over time, which I think was really good. Zach says, I love studying London and your videos help me get behind the census juice. Yes, I'm really glad that you enjoyed the videos and that it shows you a different part of the world than what you're used to. Freya says, what's my opinion on Sarah the Duchess of York, otherwise known as Fergie? I think she's an intriguing character. She is quite full of life and larger than life, and gets up to mischief. And I think she's one of those people who mischief is never far behind. And we've seen that through all the scandals. I think she made a good move in going to Switzerland and buying the Swiss chalet with Prince Andrew. I think there she can get a degree of privacy, but still keep her relationship with Prince Andrew. And I do think they have a relationship. I do think it's a serious relationship. But I think they still like their freedom, and she doesn't want to marry back into the royal family and have all those restrictions put back on her. However, I do think if she did marry back in, her life in a weird way might be easier, because although she'd probably be expected to take up royal duties again, she wouldn't have to worry about getting money from outside sources, or living off her ex-husband. She could quite legitimately have be a full-time working royal. So in some respects it would be easier, but I can see why she wouldn't want that. Sarah says she misses Fergie. She was fun. I'm sure she still is lots of fun. Pouty Gorilla says you've got 12 inches of snow. I want some snow. Please send some over. We've had quite a warm Christmas, but it's gone quite cold now. But no snow. I want some snow. Pouty Gorilla says it's still snowing here. On the beach as well. Wow. But to be honest, I've never been at a beach when it's been snowing. Freya says there can be a king consort. Mary I of England and Mary the Queen of Scots had king consorts. That was way back. I'm not quite sure that would happen now. I think we'd probably stay with Victoria's tradition of, well, what trend that she's on of prince consort. And Elizabeth and Anne had royal dukes for husbands. So I don't think we'll probably go back to king consorts, although, like I said, it could happen if the situation was right. Who knows? Chelsea says she got a job, but has a co-worker who doesn't seem to like her. That's really upsetting to hear, Chelsea. I really hope you sort out your problem. Matt says, I think Mary I's husband was king consort because he was King Philip of Spain. Yes, he was already the rank of King of Spain, so that may have been the reason why. Greta says, are there different rules when it goes to the monarchy between Ireland, Scotland and England? As the United Kingdom, are we all one? We have an Act of Union. So basically, the Queen is Queen of Scotland, Queen of England and Wales, and Queen of Northern Ireland. Although you could say that she was the British King or the Queen of the United Kingdom, but she is Queen of those individual countries separately. So when she's in Scotland, they do say that she is the Queen of Scotland, which is pretty much the same as when Prince Charles is there. He has his Scottish title. And when William and Catherine are in Scotland, they have their Scottish Earl titles. So wherever you are in the UK, you could be called something slightly different if you're a Queen or a senior royal. Okay, Matt says there's no monarchy here in Ireland. No, you're quite right. Not in the Republic of Ireland, but in Northern Ireland there is. Okay, I'm going to call you hamsters and horses because you've got quite a big name. Do you think you could do a video on their horses? I did mention the horses in one of my videos when the Queen had bought a new exercise wheel. I can't remember which video it was, but I did mention it. But yes, I could do a video on the horses. And also, Lady Louise Windsor is into carriage driving, and I only had one picture of that, and I couldn't really make a video out of one picture. So I'm hoping to get more pictures of Lady Louise on horseback. So I would love to do some videos on horses. And of course, Charles and Camilla do have a passion for horses, just like the Queen and Princess Anne. Max says the Queen. Max says the Queen is hated quite a lot here in Ireland, but you're quite the opposite. To be honest, I've never been to Ireland. I've never been to Southern Ireland, so I don't really get what the sense of the public is there. Please let me know why you think the people of the Republic of Ireland hate the Queen. Please let me know. I'm genuinely interested from an insider's point of view, so please let us know. The letter says, I thought Ireland was part of the monarchy. Sorry, yes, it is. For those of you who don't know, Ireland is kind of split into two. The very, very north bit is called Northern Ireland. If you look on a map, you can see. and the bulk of Ireland is the Republic of Ireland. And there's been lots of troubles over the years, and fortunately now we're at a period of peace, which can only be encouraged. So the northern part is part of the United Kingdom and has the Queen as monarch, and the Republic of Ireland doesn't have a monarchy. So I hope that, in a nutshell, fills you in on that. Zach says, what age do I think the Queen will die? Well, I hope, rather than saying what age I think she'll die, I hope she lives as long as her mother. And I think many people will think the same. Freya says, have I ever met a member of the royal family? And Freya met the Countess of Wessex when she visited her university. No, I haven't. And that's one thing I'm going to talk about in a moment, is how much I would like to go out more and make videos on location at key royal events. So I will talk about that in a little bit. Nicole says, do I foresee any chance of Prince Andrew repairing his image? He seems really disliked by the media. I think they're easy targets. The Yorks in general are easy targets. Some of that's come from Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. Some of it's self-inflicted, some of it is exaggerated, some of it is just media trying to be the media and cause trouble. But I think he is, a well-meaning man, but it just gets a little bit lost in all of the hype of the media. And I think he does want the best for his girls as well. I think he does want them to have a larger role, and hopefully they will when the time is right. Okay, M. Doris says the Queen Mother died when she was 100. I think she was 102. I'm sure it was 102. So let's hope the Queen lives as long as that. Freya says, I'm from Northern Ireland and many people I know there are royalists. That's really good to hear. Mac says, it's only strong Republicans who hate the Queen, but that's a large group of people, and probably a group of people who shout the loudest. Because it's usually people that have negative views, I find, that put them out there more. And probably the people that are a little bit more positive and supportive are the ones who are a little bit more quiet. That's just a thought. And you carry on. A lot of Irish people hate English people, and they take out all their anger on the Queen, as she represents all that. From our point of view, I mean, that's really interesting to know. From the Irish point of view, but I'm from the middle of England. I'm from a county called Shropshire, and I have to say, the people of England don't hate the Irish. We really don't. So that might be a feeling coming from Ireland towards England, but we don't hate the Irish. So I think that is very one-sided. Indeed, and which is sad. It's very sad that is the case. So Hendori says, so yes, 10 sort of plus years more for the Queen. I reckon she could probably make another 10 years. I really hope. Fingers crossed. And Chelsea Thomas says she thinks the Queen will die at 93 or 94. I really hope she just carries on. So let me check my notes to see if I've covered all the things that I wanted to cover so far. Oh, did you all enjoy my Christmas message? I did pre-record it like the Queen does, and I set it to upload and be visible on YouTube at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is exactly the same time that the Queen's Christmas message went live. So I'm hoping I did a really good job. Of course, they were all my own words and my own sort of take on the year gone by, and looking forward to the year ahead. So I really hope that you enjoyed that. And if you haven't watched it, it's still there. It will always be there. So just go and have a look. And I think I'm going to do another one for next year as well. Matt continues. The mood is very much changing though, as most Republicans are over 60 and most of their parents were alive during the 1916 Rising and land wars. Of course, there is a huge history behind the Troubles in Ireland, and of course those people who were alive to experience those troubles are always going to have a strong opinion about it. But I really don't think that, you know, that's the way to move forwards, is to hold on to those views. You know, we as a nation could hold everything against Germany for the troubles that they caused in the war. And of course, my granddad is still alive today, and he fought in the Russian convoys against the German threat. But he doesn't hate them. He doesn't hate the people of Germany today. He hated the people that were causing the trouble back then. But it's not good to hold on to all of that hate. We have to move forwards. We really do. And that's kind of what my Christmas message, going back to my Christmas message, what that was about. It was about moving forwards in a difficult world, in a troubled world. And I really hope that that message goes forwards. Okay, Zach says, Zach thinks that the Queen will die between 102 and 105. Steve Tack says, Christmas message was very great. Thank you very much. Gina says, hi Elliot, thanks for all you do. Canadian media says the Duchess of Cambridge is pregnant with baby number 3. Is there any official word on this? I think that when has there not been a rumour that she's pregnant? I think it will just keep ongoing and ongoing. There is no official line that she's pregnant. And as soon as I hear any whisper of truth in the matter, of course, I will let you know. So I think we need to take it that she's not pregnant, although I do think that there will be a baby number 3, but I don't think just yet. I think possibly for 2018, maybe. But no, I don't think she's pregnant right now. Matt says, also the Queen's visit in 2011 made a lot of people actually acknowledge the Queen and started to be intrigued by her, and they find out about how much of a wonderful person she is. Of course, and I think that's what I've just been saying about moving forwards, and the Queen being such a high profile person and having such a family connection to the Troubles as well. If she can move on and she can not forget, but can forgive and can move on, then I think that sends a very powerful message. So I hope people have latched onto and can take to their own hearts and can apply to their own lives, because I'm sure, like the Queen, many people have lost relatives in the Troubles. Okay, and Doris says what Prince Andrew should do is stop messing around with people that are well-known profile paedophiles and drug dealers. I know what the story that you're referring to, and of course he did have a connection to some of those characters, some of those more shady characters, although I don't think he was aware of their involvement in those acts. Again, I think calamity seems to follow the Yorks. He probably didn't even realise that that's what they were doing, which is really sad. I just think both Andrew and Sarah are both quite a bad judge of character, and I think that shows and reflects in the people that they were hanging around with. So I think you're right. I think you're completely right. They do need to choose their friends a lot more carefully. Matt says, may the Queen live forever. Well, yeah, I completely agree. Vivat Regina. Nicole DeBow says, do you believe that Prince Harry's statement regarding Meghan Markle really made the media coverage more intense? To some degree, yes. And of course, it was very unprecedented to make such a comment. And of course, that started a trend because Prince Andrew and Sarah both released statements about the media's intrusion in their own lives. So we are in slightly uncharted waters at the moment with the royals and their interaction with the media. A little bit the same as in America, how President Trump is using Twitter to communicate with the people. I think the royals are doing that with public statements over things that they previously wouldn't have done. The coverage has been brutal. How can a relationship survive this? I think they're very strong. I think the relationship is much stronger than people think. And it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, in a couple of weeks' time or a few months, an announcement wasn't made that they were engaged. I think it is that serious. I really do. Okay. Yes, and Doris is talking about this idea that the royal family are reptilians. Some people comment in the comment section, and of course, as you all know, I leave up comments, and I had to take down a few comments this week because they were personal against people. And of course, I won't stand for personal attacks against people. But I do believe in freedom of speech, and if people want to leave comments that are negative to the royal family, negative towards me, or calling the royal family reptilians, that's up to them. That's their freedom of speech, and if they want to put that out there, they can put that out there. But I will not tolerate personal attacks against members of this community. So if I notice that someone's being attacked personally, then of course I will remove the comment. If I don't notice something, please let me know. Send me a message via YouTube, and of course I will remove the comments if they are there. So I hope that just clears up that. But this reptilian thing, I have no idea how it came about, and of course it's a complete load of tut. Do not agree with it whatsoever. Okay. Matt says, is that a little crown logo on my shirt? Well spotted, it is indeed. This top is from Next, which is a clothing retailer in the UK. Of course, I'm not being sponsored by Next, although if they want to send me a load of free clothes, I will wear them for my videos. But yes, one of the Next logos is a small crown. I'm not sure if you can just see that on camera, but it is indeed a crown. Nancy Wright says there has been a story in the mainstream press in the US that the Queen nearly got shot by a palace guard while taking a 3 AM walk in the grounds. Right, this story, it emerged a couple of days ago, and the reason why I haven't reported on it is because someone who worked in the palace that I follow on Twitter tweeted immediately after I'd seen this story and said, what a load of rubbish. This story has been going on since the year 2000 when he worked at the palace. So this is a recycled story. It's something that is rumoured to have happened round about 1999, the year 2000. And it was said that the Queen couldn't sleep, and at 3 AM she went out and a guard nearly shot her. A guard came up to her and said, once he saw who it was, said, ma'am, I nearly shot you. And the Queen replied that in the future she would ring down and let them know if she was going out for a walk. So I haven't reported that story because it's an old story, and it could even be a rumour. So, you know, as you all know, I like true stories and I like things to be true and accurate. So that is basically, in a nutshell, what that story is about. Okay, Cora says, did I not like her question? I haven't seen your question. Let me just scan back up. Okay, Cora says, how do you think in reality the royal family feels about Harry's new girlfriend? I think, I mean, of course, we will never know personally what they think unless they say, which is very unlikely. But I think they'll be quite accepting. I think she is quite a remarkable young lady. Of course, she's had a media career and she's had all that comes with that, and she's done all the things that celebrities do to get famous. But of course, behind all of that, she has a very humanitarian spirit and a very charitable spirit, and she's done lots of amazing charity work behind the scenes before she even met Prince Harry, which of course stands her in very good stead if she's going to take on Prince Harry and his role and take on a role that comes with it. So I think they'd find her quite charming, as many people do in the UK. I don't think many people in the UK knew her previously. Only those people who obviously followed Suits. But I think now that she's well known, I think her charity work and all of her good qualities are coming through. And the fact that she's upfront about her past and she's not really hiding anything, and of course she's toned down her social media, which also tells me that the relationship is quite serious. I think people like her. Okay, Max says, I would love to have been there during the scenario where she nearly got shot. I think there was a similar one with Prince Andrew when he was walking in the grounds and a guard nearly shot him too. So it's probably a good idea for the royals to let the staff know when they're going to have a walkabout. Okay, Chelsea says, it's one thing to make yourself look like a fool, it's another to attack others. I completely agree. Freya says, which royal has the best fashion in my opinion? Best fashion has probably got to be Catherine. She always looks good and she always wears the appropriate clothes for the occasion. The Queen has a classic style, all of her own, but of course it is really good fashion. Camilla, I know probably a lot of you are probably booing at the screen right now, but I do love Camilla's fashion. Her hats are amazing, and she does have good fashion. And if you do Google her, you will see a lot of examples of really good fashion. And of course, William has upgraded his style too. He's had a little bit of a makeover ready for the Canadian tour, and I think that's carried on. I think he has actually started taking a better approach towards fashion. Gina says, did you miss my answer about Catherine's third pregnancy? I think you did, because I did speak about it. In a nutshell, I don't think she's pregnant, but I think she will be, possibly around 2018. I think she will go on to have a third child. Scientific Revolutionary says, did I go to a public school? No, I went to normal state schools. And I work at a state school as well. So no public school for me. Matt says, I feel like Harry and William revealing so much and marrying commoners kind of rubs away the magic dust of the monarchy. I'm not so sure. I think it depends who they marry. Catherine, although a commoner, and although, you know, a bit of a coming from a social climbing family, I think she has taken to it, and she does certainly have the poise of a royal, even though she wasn't born into it. And Meghan, in a way, I think Meghan's a very different proposition. But then again, we saw the attraction Diana had to people who weren't of that kind of ilk. So maybe Harry's just inherited her streak for liking slightly unusual people, people that others wouldn't normally associate them with. Okay, Matt said the best thing would be to see a coronation in HD. I agree, and of course the plans for a coronation are already in operation. I did do a video about that before. Scientific Revolutionary says, did I think Prince Charles would be alive to become king? If so, how long would you reign for? Well, if we say the Queen's got another 10 years, if we work on that principle, you know, I mean, he will be fairly old. He could have 10 to 20 years on the throne. I mean, it is what it is. You know, the Queen isn't going to die just so that he can become king, and she isn't going to pass it on like some other European monarchies do. They aren't going to retire. So I don't think the Queen will retire at all. Nancy says, I agree with me about Camilla's hats. And her wedding hat was beautiful. Yes, it was. It was that sort of turquoisey colour, that sort of duck egg kind of colour with those amazing sort of brown feathers. It was truly stunning. I did like her wedding coat. And Doris says, I like Camilla's fashion. She looks really good. Mark says, is that a crown on my shirt? Yes, it is. Another eagle-eyed viewer did spot it as well. Freya says, have you heard the rumour about the Earl of Carnarvon being Prince Andrew's biological father? I don't believe it. No, that's the first time I'd heard it, so I'd imagine it is just that, a rumour. And Doris says, I like Prince William's nerdy dad glasses. I like them too. Again, I showed those in a video when he was driving the car. And it was when all the royals were arriving to Buckingham Palace shortly before the Queen was taken ill to have a family lunch. And he was wearing his nerdy dad glasses, and I find them quite charming too. Chelsea Thomas says, Camilla, I love Camilla's fashion also. Also, this is Harry's year. I agree, Camilla's fashion is impeccable for anyone, really. I mean, she does put herself together well, whether you like her or not. And I'm perfectly aware that I have viewers that like Camilla. I have viewers that don't like Camilla. And that's up to everyone. I mean, obviously on this channel, I report all royals equally. I will not shy away from reporting any royals. But I do like her fashion. And I quite like her big hair and the way that she wears excessive amounts of jewels, which of course we're not seeing the younger royals do. And of course I like the royal jewels, and Camilla sometimes is the queen of bling. I mean, she wears these amazing collet necklaces and the Greville tiara, and it all looks amazing, and I quite like it. Okay, Freya says, Camilla had my favourite wedding dress. It was very classy. I agree, it was very age appropriate and classy. Mary says, will William be king instead of Charles? No, it will always go to Charles first unless Charles dies. Max says, hope she lives till the Platinum Jubilee. I would love to see a Platinum Jubilee. Definitely, and you're quite right. The Diamond Jubilee would have been the last big, or the biggest Jubilee that we will have seen in our lifetimes. Nicole says, Meghan is well educated. She has a degree in international relations and drama. Yes, she does. She is well educated. She's from Northwestern University, and she's also bilingual. She is a very clever lady, and I think the royals will like her. And Max says, do I think Charles will make Camilla queen? Basically, by law, and I do keep saying this because you don't make Camilla queen. She is queen. Not a queen regnant, but a queen consort. Because when in UK law, when a man assumes the title of king or the role of king, his wife is queen consort. That is law. So unless the law was changed, which it hasn't been, it isn't going to be, there's no intention to do so, then she will be queen consort. Whether they call her that, I mean, they could choose to style her something different, perhaps, but by law, she will be queen consort. Just the same as by law, she is the Princess of Wales, whether people like it or not. But I think Charles has made his wishes clear that he would like her to be queen consort, and there is no constitutional reason why she shouldn't. Max says, remarks on Royal Reviewer channel, moving on nicely, and more viewers. Yes, nearly 5,000, and I said earlier on in this live chat that I'm absolutely amazed and so overjoyed that so many people have subscribed to my channel. And I have got something to say about that in a little bit. Okay, hamsters and horses. I can't get used to seeing that name on my screen. Hamsters and horses. Meghan was unheard of here in the US until she started dating Harry. It would be awesome to see an American member of the royal family. I quite agree. I don't have anything against that whatsoever. Max says, sorry, what I meant to say was, do I think she'll be crowned alongside him? Now that may be very different. Of course, we haven't seen a joint crowning for many years. It is a possibility that could happen. And of course, if that did happen, it would show completely the intent that forevermore after that, she would be known as Queen Consort. Of course, the coronation is usually about 18 months after the accession. But it would certainly cement the fact that she would be Queen Consort. Of course, we haven't seen the coronation plans, but we do know that they are in existence and being worked upon and constantly updated. Freya says, do you think a new consort's crown will be made for Camilla? I don't think so. I think she will use the Queen Mother's crown. Could be slightly adapted, but I do think she will use the Queen Mother's. And I think Charles likes to see Camilla in his grandmother's jewels. So I think she will keep the Queen Mother's crown. Margaret Young says, whether people like or dislike Camilla, the fact is she has made Charles happier than we've ever seen him, and that is what counts. I completely agree. And of course, if William and Harry have accepted her, that just about says it all. And, you know, if they've accepted her, I think that shows that we should all, again, move on. You know, we should always recognise what's gone on in the past. We don't have to forget what's happened in the past, but we can move on. In each of us, we have that power to be able to move on. And I think going forward into 2017, I think that should be the theme of our year. We should all just move on and make the most of life and whatever makes us happy. Matt says, I'm going to miss the Queen's royal wave, which will be the last of its kind. I'm sure William and Catherine will take on the royal wave. I'm sure they will. I'm sure that'll be absolutely one of the things that they will adopt once they are King and Queen consort. Right, I'm just checking my list to see if we've covered a lot of things that I wanted to. Now, those of you who watched my first opening video will know that I received a letter from the Queen. And of course the envelope came through and I was very excited, but I waited to make the video. And some of you have said that I should get it framed. Well, I have. And here is the letter, which I opened in that video, in its new frame. I've put the envelope at the back. So it's just a normal photo frame, but the envelope is actually inside here, so I won't lose it. But here is the amazing letter. So I'm going to put that on my wall. I haven't found the perfect spot for it yet, but I will do. And I actually researched the lady in waiting. It's Philippa de Pass is the lady in waiting, and she had a lot to do with Princess Diana. Her son was really big friends with Diana, and Diana stayed over at her house. And Philippa de Pass is actually, I think she's about 84 or 86 years old. She's one of the longest standing ladies in waiting to the Queen. So I feel very honoured to have had it personally signed by her. So I absolutely love it. And of course, if you watched one of my other opening videos, I had a letter from Kensington Palace. Now, it was very weird because it had the Buckingham Palace postal stamp on it, but it was a letter from Kensington Palace. And I sent the letter to Kensington Palace, and then I also sent ones to Buckingham Palace. So I'm not quite sure why it has the stamp. I'm thinking maybe that all correspondence has to have the stamp, no matter where it comes from. But it was also announced today, the official card of the Cambridges. And of course, I have one. This is what they sent me. So this is the picture. It's from the Canadian tour. It was taken at Government House when they had the children's birthday party. And I just think it's a stunning photograph. It was taken by newspaper photographer, The Sun's Arthur Edwards. And it is absolutely stunning, and I can't believe I have one. It was just, like I say, announced to the media today that this is what the card was, and I have one. It's amazing. And of course there is a reverse with the message, which reads, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince George and Princess Charlotte are so grateful to you for the kind messages sent at Christmas and send you their best wishes for a happy new year. So I was just delighted that I got it. And of course I waited again. Now those of you, there was one comment in my video when I was opening this, which kind of made me laugh, and it was about my hair. And they said, I looked like I'd been dragged out of bed and that I hadn't put any decent clothes on. Well, my answer to that was, it's because I couldn't wait. I'd had a long, long, long day at work. And I can assure you, my hair was perfect 9 hours previously. But after a busy day at work, it was all over the place. And I couldn't wait a moment longer to open this. So I didn't have time to run a comb through my hair. I didn't have the time to dress up. I just wanted to rip open the envelope, and I waited an extra 2 hours to make the video. So apologies for how I look in that video, but I couldn't wait to open this. I was so excited. And I'm really intrigued as to who I get a reply from next. I'm still waiting for one from Charles and Camilla, which I did send to Clarence House directly. And I'm waiting for one from Prince Harry, which I actually sent it to his cottage address at Kensington Palace. I was kind of hoping if I sent it to the cottage address rather than a big main office, it might actually get to his front door and he might actually receive it personally. Who knows? But I am still waiting, and I'm really hoping to see who's next. Please let me know who you think will respond next, Charles and Camilla or Prince Harry. And of course, the one I'm really looking forward to is Prince Harry. I would love to have one from him. Okay, Freya says, will Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie's husbands receive earldoms? Could be offered, but if Prince Charles has anything to say about it, probably not. And of course, you know, it's becoming that sort of tradition where they don't. But it could be offered, who knows? Enjoy says, cool Elliot, I envy you. Don't envy me. You can all write a letter to the royals. You know, choose a royal, do an experiment like I did, and just send off a whole load. Just do a complete job lot and see what you get back. People from foreign countries have received responses, so please just try it. I hope that these videos of me opening and receiving these letters have inspired people to send more letters and correspondence and birthday messages and Christmas messages to your favourite royal. Just do it, and please let me know and let the community know what happens. Just do it. Max says, I'm so confused about who the palace responds to regarding letters. I sent one for the Queen's birthday but didn't get anything back. Do they respond to certain people or just randomly? I think they endeavour to respond to everybody, but it depends probably where you sent it, or indeed if it got lost in the post, or even lost in one of their offices. I try again, just try and send something else. And I'm not going to wait another year until Christmas to send more messages. I'm at the next really big royal event. I'm going to send another cluster of cards. I'm going to see what response I get. And I think I've got the bug. I've got the royal writing bug. So I'm going to carry on doing it and see what happens. Okay, Max says, surprised Catherine didn't put one of her own photos on the front of the card. Well, she is there. I mean, it's a lovely family photo, so I think they've chosen it because it's a lovely family photo. And of course, I'm not stupid. I know that they don't technically, you know, Catherine didn't put that in the envelope herself. I know it's the office, but it is the thought that counts, and it's the acknowledgement, and it's the excitement of getting that letter through the post, coming home and finding it on your doormat. It is a truly amazing feeling. So I endeavour all of you to just give it a go. Deborah says, I'm outside the UK, and as a US citizen, we love Diana and her boys dearly. What do they call Camilla? To be honest, I'm not sure. I haven't actually heard them in public calling her anything. So, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, obviously they must call her something in private, and, you know, they probably think of her as their stepmother. I would imagine they just call her Camilla. I really would. Just me, congratulations, Elliot. I want a card from the palace. Then send a letter. Send one. Just send it to Buckingham Palace in London and see what you've received. Margaret says, well done. What does the letter say? Obviously, they are very happy with what you do. If you watch the video, I do read it out, but I will read it again for you. The letter says, it's addressed to me, and it says, the Queen wishes me to thank you very much for your card and the kind message you have sent to Her Majesty and the Duke of Edinburgh for Christmas. In a year of special birthday celebrations for both the Queen and Prince Philip, Her Majesty is most grateful for your thoughtfulness in writing, as you did, and hopes you too have a happy Christmas and a peaceful New Year. And it was signed yours sincerely by Philippa de Pass, who is one of the longest standing ladies in waiting to the Queen. And it was dated the 20th of December 2016. So the bits that she's actually written are handwritten. Of course, part of it is typed, but it's an absolutely amazing thing to have, and one that I will treasure forever. Okay. Justin says Prince Harry is having Meghan send thanks out this year. I don't know. I don't think she will be on his card this year. Not until they're actually married. Then they'll have probably a joint card. And Doris says Prince Harry is too busy with Meghan to answer a card. Yes, I think he probably is. And Doris says, I'm in Mexico and I would have to send it in September for them to get it. I'm expecting to receive some of these letters perhaps even a month or two down the line. I knew I probably wouldn't get it straight for Christmas. I did send it a little bit late, I know that. I think next year I will send at the possibly even the start of October, maybe 4 weeks prior, and just see if that makes a difference. Matt's going to send one for the Queen's 70th anniversary. Nancy says, what did I write in my cards to the royals? Well, basically, it was a Moonpig card. So that's quite a big greetings card company in the UK. And because I was out at the time, I decided to send one of those cards. So I picked a classic design because I knew that the Queen is very, very traditional with her religious beliefs. So I chose a card with a design of the three kings delivering their gifts to the baby Jesus. And it was a really nice looking card. On the inside flap of the card, I put my address so that they could return to me something if they wanted to. And then I addressed it individually to each royal. And I slightly adapted the message compared to who it was. But basically, I thanked them, each royal, for their commitment to the UK and the Commonwealth. So hopefully that was a message that they would want to hear. And of course, I've got 2 replies back, which I'm very happy with. Just Me says, I bet they have a database with whom they respond to. They probably do. So they can call people back up should they need to. Matt says, my aunt-in-law, I'm very close to, actually managed to get into Buckingham Palace without being invited. Please let me know how. I would love to know. Just Me says, I'm sending one to Charles and Camilla. Please do, and let us know what happens. Chelsea says, night guys, I'm off to bed, I have work tomorrow. Good night, Chelsea, and I hope your job goes well and you sort out your problems. Okay, I'm just checking my list again. Okay, I'm now going to talk about someone in the comment section said that they would like to give me a tip for my videos. And it got me thinking, because there wasn't any way that if people want to give me a tip for my videos that they can. I noticed a lot of other YouTubers have donate buttons or whatever. So it took me ages, but I finally put up a PayPal donate button. So if anybody does wish to give me a tip for any videos, you don't have to. I won't be mad if you don't. But the option is there if you should want to. But there is another scheme I've been investigating called, there's an app on a phone called Patreon, and it allows YouTube channels to have patrons. And some of my favorite YouTubers use Patreon. And it's taken me a while to get my head around it and to adapt this scheme for our community. But I really want to know what you feel about becoming perhaps patrons of Royal Reviewer site. So basically, I follow these two YouTubers called Sea Cruisers, and I really love their videos. They make lots of videos of their cruises. You may have watched them. If you haven't, go watch them. They are brilliant. And they have certain people who kind of sponsor them to do their videos. And one of my ideas for the channel is I want to go off and to locations of royal events and film for the channel. But of course I can't, because a lot of these events happen while I'm working. So if I want to be able to do these events, I either need to reduce my hours of working or give up my work completely to be able to do that. So the Patreon scheme would really help, because I could put anything that I make into going off on location to cover these live events. So the scheme is basically where the channel gives rewards, different levels of rewards to people who sponsor. So for example, I could send out Christmas cards and birthday cards to patrons. I could make exclusive videos. I could have a private Facebook group for patrons. I could make patron-only live chats for a certain number of times per week or per month. And it's a scheme that I'm investigating. So it might help further the community in doing that. So just let me know what you think about it. Okay, Loretta says, do I think Prince Charles can trust the York sisters? Fergie said it was Beatrice who woke her up and told her the media knew. If Beatrice will help sell her father, why should Prince Charles her? I think eventually they will take up a larger share of duties when the need is there, and of course the Queen is passing on more and more duties. So perhaps we will see that within the next 10 years that they will take up, or there will be a need for them to be involved a bit more. And of course, when they're older, they will be standalone royals. They won't be relying on their parents so much. And maybe Prince Charles can evaluate them on their own merit. Deborah says, how often does Charles see his grandchildren? When Charles becomes king, Camilla's children have bodyguards. No, I don't think her children will be entitled to bodyguards. I don't think a lot of people even know who they are. And do we know how often he sees his grandchildren? No. Again, these are private matters. We don't know how often he sees them. We only see when he sees them on public events, but we certainly don't know how often he sees them in private. Max says she was over during summer 2015 and she said she saw a large group of people and I presumed it was a garden party, which just went in with all the people and got in. Wow, that's amazing. I can't believe she got into a garden party without an invite. Well done. Did you manage to get any pictures or anything? Cora says, I sent a card to Her Majesty the Queen Mother for her 100th birthday. I too have a frame with a response. Well done. I would love to have had one from the Queen Mother. Just Me says, where was I born? I detect a little Liverpudlian. No, I'm certainly not Liverpudlian. I'm from Shropshire, so that's sort of slightly near the Welsh border. Perhaps a little near Birmingham, but I don't like to think I have a Birmingham accent. I'm from Shropshire. There you go. But I don't think they all sound like me. I think I probably have my own unique accent. Matt says, I'm going to ask the next time I see her, and she said the toilets were gold and they were offered tea. Wow, I didn't know the Queen had gold toilets. So there we have it. The Queen has gold toilets for people to use when they go to garden parties. Deborah says, thanks so much for sharing. And Matt says, my granduncle also sent a letter to the Queen regarding a book he wrote and got a response signed by the Queen herself. Wow, that is completely something special. And of course, a selection of the Queen's post is selected daily to be shown to her personally. So obviously something as impressive as a book probably would have made that selection. Okay, just so you know, I haven't made a video on it yet because I'm not quite sure it warrants a whole video, but Prince William has gone back to work. He went back to work very early in the new year as an air ambulance rescue pilot, so he is back working, which suggests that the Cambridges are at Anmer Hall, which again is very close to the Queen, so I'd imagine they've been popping back and forth to see her. Now, the Cambridge plans for 2017, I did make a video on it. Prince George is due to start school in September, so everyone thinks that there will be a big shift. Predominantly, they've been based in Anmer Hall in Norfolk, and they've been spending, whenever they've been working, in London at Kensington Palace. But we think that it's likely William will give up his air ambulance pilot job, probably towards the end of the summer, where he will then, with Catherine and the children, take up more of a permanent residence at Kensington Palace for the working week, where George will attend school. And the preferred choice is Wetherby School, where William and Harry went. It's probably likely they will go to that school because that's the choice Diana made for them. And of course, we know that William likes to keep his mother, even though she's sadly not here, he likes to keep her involved in his children's lives by allowing them to wear clothes, well, allowing George to wear clothes that he himself wore. And I think he'll carry on the tradition of the school. So it's likely we'll see a bit of a shift, and that will coincide with taking on a lot more royal duties, which I think they will do. So I think 2017, towards the end of 2017, we'll see a big change for the Cambridges. Steve says, I like the idea of a patron account if it allows you to pursue your royal role further. Yeah, I mean, it's something that I know works for other people who have YouTube channels, and it worked for the girls that I mentioned. They are now able to deliver a lot more content because of their patron scheme. It allows them to go on lots more cruises, which of course they film for their channel. So more patrons means more cruises, means more videos. So if I was able to get a patron scheme going, it would allow me to do royal shopping hauls and lots more opening and product testing videos. It would allow me to go to key royal events and film live, you know, as if you were there as well. So these are things I would love to do for 2017, but can only happen if I have support. Otherwise, I've still got to carry on with my day job, which means that I can't do all the things that I want to do. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But like I say, I'm still looking into how best to fit that to this channel. But I do like the idea of sending my patrons birthday cards and Christmas cards. I think that's a really lovely idea. And also making patron-only videos. So for example, instead of doing 4 live chats a month for everybody, one of those live chat weeks could be a patron-only live chat. And of course, access to a patron-only Facebook group. So there's lots of ideas I've got going, but we'll have to see how I can feasibly make that work and fit our community. Matt says the book was entitled My English Irish Journey, about his time living in England and Ireland, and he sent her a copy. He sent it around the time of her Irish visit in 2011, so it's very recent. I also think she had to read. Perhaps she did. One will never know. Wow. Mac also says, I bought a Mox of Edward's crown from the Royal Collection shop. Just got it, it's so cool. Yes, I have one as well. In fact, mine was, it's actually classed as a Christmas decoration, and it's fairly large. Perhaps it's the same one, I don't know. But it is quite lifelike. And I do like mine, and I bring it out every Christmas and use it. Okay, so I've covered all the points that I've got on my list. So do I have any other questions about the royal family, about the channel, about life in general? I'm open to any questions. And if not, we've had a fantastic chat session, and we could call it a night. It's fairly late here in the UK. Those of you who don't know, I'm just looking at my computer. It's nearly 11:30, so that means we've been live for over an hour and a half. And of course, we've had so much to catch up on. Of course, that's why we've been having a really, really long chat. And of course, I love doing these live chats. And of course, things are back to normal now. So it will be every Saturday at 10 o'clock GMT time. So you can pop onto Google. It's quite easy to do a time conversion to find out when 10 o'clock GMT is for you. So you can catch these chats live. If you don't manage to catch them live, or you have to leave partway through, I always put these chats up on YouTube as a video. Unfortunately, I can't edit the video. If you do it through the Hangouts on Air like I do, you can't edit the video. So it is what it is. It's the entire video. It's the entire live chat session, completely raw, completely unedited. So you aren't going to miss anything by watching them on catch up. It just means that you can't contribute to the questions. Okay, Max says, bye and great chatting, and I'm the only person that you can talk with about the royals. Well, hopefully I'm encouraging more and more people to talk, and especially young people. I really am interested in getting younger people to be able to talk about the royal family and monarchy and history. Deborah says, enjoy your night, and Dory says, good night, Elliot, thanks for the chat. And Steve says, where would you send a letter to Zara and Mike? I would send it to Buckingham Palace. I think Princess Anne's correspondence goes through Buckingham Palace. So try that. Of course, if you can find their actual address, which is, I think they have a house close. You could send it to Gatcombe, which is Princess Anne's private estate. It might find their way, but I would try Buckingham Palace. The letter says, good night. We had a wonderful live chat. Yes, we did. It was a really good chat session. Max says, I'm only 15 and I think that's young enough. Wow, I didn't know that you were 15. Talking to you on here, I thought you were a lot older than 15. So I'm really pleased that I do have young people involved in this channel. So thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you have a fantastic week and you've had a fantastic start to 2017. So as always, keep watching for all the uploads. If you're not subscribed, then subscribe so that you don't miss out on anything. I also have the Royal Reviewer Facebook page. All the links, by the way, to all of my other social media accounts are in the description of every video. So if you want to find out how to reach me on Twitter, just have a look there. I also have an Instagram, which I haven't actually got on the description. I'm sure it's Royal_Reviewer on Instagram. I do post some behind the scenes pictures or just personal pictures on there. So if you want a little bit extra, you can go there. So for this week, that concludes our chat. And from me in Shropshire, goodbye.